You called me. So here I am.
So I finally finished Control and I still don't understand why people love this so much. The start of the game reminds me of the Jim Carrey skit, Baby Don't Hurt Me. Because I had no idea if Jesse was talking to me with other characters in the game. The game actually insisted on making everything more confusing, even if it doesn't have to be.
It's like we live in a room, and there's a poster on the wall. We stare at it and we think that's the whole world.
Nah, I just think they're cute. And they remind me how much I love games and anime.
I try to forget
We
what they
play as
saw.
Jessie. Maybe it's me, but she looks a little like a
I'm here.
potato with a wig on. I actually
Why
liked
did you
her.
bring me here?
Anyway, you go to the director's office and you find out that he shot himself. And that's how you become the new director.
Okay, now I have a gun.
Like I said, the game shows you a lot of stuff at the beginning that you will not understand because they insist on making everything more complex than it actually is. You expect things to unfold, and they kind of do. But then you reach the end of the game and there's a lot of questions that are not answered. So you start off with a gun with infinite ammo and some enemies that you know nothing about.
You did that? And you entered the building when it was already in the lockdown before you became the new director? How?
I'm not ready to tell her about you yet.
A janitor let me in.
I love it. This is fucking unbelievable. I can't even. Look, Jesse, I have a million questions, and you probably have a million more.
And this part right here explains exactly what I was thinking when I played the game. The problem was that I never wanted to know the 1 million answers. And many times I just wanted the game to finish already so I know if the ending will actually help in any way. I love the fact that the game had a few abilities, but they were fun to play with. Because I hate it when games implement thousands of abilities that are completely useless and boring and you don't care about because you usually use the 2 or 3 abilities that you like the most. And your gun is also fun to use. But you usually use it between your abilities. And it's also cool that your gun can have different forms, but you usually end up using 1 or 2 forms at max. So I kind of liked this part, but then comes the useless documents that there's a lot of documents that nobody will stay and read because most of them are very boring and useless. And the mods for your gun and mods for your body. Basically, you can recharge your gun faster, or you can recharge your abilities faster, you can do more damage, stuff like that. Nothing important, stuff that's very boring. And you will end up always deleting the mods 99% of the time. I think we all know what made the game very fun. Using your power to destroy a room just so you can kick the enemy's ass was really fun. But a game like this also needs a story. So no matter how fun the gameplay was, killing the same enemies over and over in a building that almost every room looks the same will get boring very fast if you don't have an interesting story. And I think the story is actually interesting. The problem is the way they told the story was in a very confusing and boring way. You get something interesting from time to time, like an interesting monster that you need to fight or something like that. But between that you get a lot of fillers. Most of the time I didn't even know what's the main mission and what's the side quests. And later I found out that some side quests were really interesting and were more interesting than the main mission. And another annoying problem that I had with the game was the map. Most of the time you had no idea where everything was. It was just a place on the map that it turned yellow and that's all. You didn't know if it's on the first floor, on the second floor, if you go in the right way or not. It was very annoying. I think Control is a game when you mix a lot of good game design with a lot of bad game design and you get Control. Don't get me wrong, the game deserves to be played, but not at full price, of course. Maybe this game is made for people that are very obsessed with CIA stuff and with a story that's made more complicated than it actually is. The weird stuff, I think it's what actually saves the game, because that part doesn't actually need to make any sense. It needs to be crazy enough to be entertaining, and that's all. Maybe it's just me, but I got kind of fed up with these kind of games that has a lot of fillers, a lot of side missions, or even main mission that has parts with boring stuff. And I understand that you cannot make things that are interesting for everybody. Some people will find some stuff boring, other people will find it interesting. For example, I like turn-based games, but a lot of people hate that kind of gameplay. But you can't deny that a lot of games have a lot of useless stuff in them. Stuff that makes the game look a lot longer than it actually is. And this kind of stuff really makes me hate a lot of games that are actually entertaining. I don't understand why a lot of people like this game, but I also don't understand why a lot of people like Final Fantasy 15. I'm a very huge fan of Final Fantasy, but Final Fantasy 15 was a fucking joke. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about Final Fantasy, but I prefer companies to stop making games just to show me how real can something look or how awesome with ray tracing a game can be. Maybe the next Control game will be very awesome and I will love it. And this Control was also very close in doing that, if they try to tell the story in a different way. The game is not that long, the main story is close to 12 hours, and I can't understand how that's even possible. Maybe the abilities in the game took a lot of time, and this is why the game is 12 hours, and I don't mind about that. I don't really want longer games. But at least make sure that what is implemented in the game and the main story is entertaining. And also, why add a lot of characters that you will never find out details about them? Most of the people in the game don't have a story. If you want to play this game, and you should play this game, I recommend that you play it on a PC, because the controls are really bad for a console. Now for my favorite part of this game.
This is so weird. But it is my head.